Hi everyone, welcome to Song Tripping. I'm Jim. Time to check in with another listening log here in August. What is it, August 14th, I think? Something like that. Anyway, just an update on what I've been listening to and with some new acquisitions and just my reactions to those. This is just like a log of my listening life for whatever it's worth. I found a free CD in the little free library local to my house. We have several in our neighborhood, and every now and then you see CDs in there. So I couldn't resist this one. Fiona Apple, Fetch the Bolt Cutters. This is just a few years old, and I gave it a couple listens in the car on my way down to Jupiter Records in Delaware. And I have to say, I streamed this when it first came out, and I thought this is an interesting album, but I didn't really revisit it. But after listening to it another couple times on CD in the car, I thought, nice collection of work. I really liked the first track quite a bit. That was a pretty cool one. Here's your track list. This was an ex-library copy that just found its way into one of those little book sheds for free. And I'm glad I picked it up. So Fiona Apple, my nod to the newish in the world of pop music. This is not new, but I try to once every summer, at least once, listen to Endless Summer by the Beach Boys. And this is I'm fairly certain that this was our original copy that our family had. My sister had this album, and I inherited it from her. And it still sounds great, this double album on vinyl. And is there a better summer album than Endless Summer? I also listened to All Summer Long by the Beach Boys not so long ago. I think I streamed it on Tidal. And Endless Summer is just kind of the perfect side-by-side album. You know, side one is sort of surf themed, and then side two has a lot of songs about cars and the girls on the beach and so forth. Side three, just the hits keep rolling along. I Get Around, The Girls on the Beach, Wendy, what's one of my favorite Beach Boys songs, Don't Worry Baby's on there. And then side four with California Girls and Help Me Rhonda and All Summer Long, and it just goes on and on. What a terrific compilation. This album rebooted the Beach Boys' career in a lot of ways. So I gave that a listen. That's an oldie. And also, on my way to the record store, I found 3 vinyl albums. I used up all my store credit. I was very low anyway, so I maxed that out and then some. I think I spent about $30 all told on top of the store credit. But here's what I found. I got The Doors, L.A. Woman. I thought I had this album on vinyl, but I never did. I checked my Discogs, I checked the stacks behind me, and this, I'm like, I have it on my Doors box set. We've been going through the CD box set, that clamshell box. I don't have it to show it right now, but it's that's a terrific box set. You get all the Doors studio albums on there, and it's fine, and L.A. Woman sounds good on that. But I thought I really want to hear this on vinyl, and being that I thought I had it but I don't, I only have a couple Doors albums previous to this on vinyl. I have like a couple compilations, and then I have the first album and one other one, I think. Can't remember which one. But anyway, maybe not. Anyway, so this is one of their great albums, perhaps their best album. I think the first album the debut is really good too. Like the first one, and then this is like the last one, are the best. So this actually was just right in the front of the stacks in the new arrivals when I walked in the store, so I grabbed it right away. I knew I had store credit, so I'm like, I'm just going to get it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to dither. This, I think, is a reissue that Rhino did, and I can't remember what year, but it's used but it's VG++, if not near mint. And what's cool about this, I'm not going to take it out of the sleeve, but this is sort of like a clear plastic with the silhouetted, or that image of the Doors, the band is printed on that, so you can sort of see through that window onto the yellow background, and that's pretty cool. The album, well, okay, first of all, let's get the negative out. There was just some surface noise between songs. I don't know if this is true for most pressings of this, but once the music kicks in, this sounds friggin' incredible. Just like so well recorded. Such a deep soundstage. Everything just sounded like totally immersive. So I'm gonna put a recommendation out, and I did not do an A/B comparison with the CD, the remastered CD from the box set. I know that's good, but I was so impressed with this. I thought, how could the CD match this? I'm not sure it can. But aside from that sort of little bit of crackly surface noise between tracks, this was just, a 5-10 star sound. I just have to recommend it. I think that's an album that you want to listen to on vinyl. Anyway, thoroughly enjoyed that. And then this was a good day at the record store. So some days you strike out and sometimes you strike gold. So I found that Doors album, which was on my radar, which was cool. And then I found With the Beatles. This is new. Those reissues from 2012, 2014, somewhere in there. So this completes my run of early Beatles studio albums. Got Please Please Me, With the Beatles. I have Hard Day's Night, Beatles for Sale, Help, Rubber Soul. I got all the way up to Revolver. And then at that point, we were pretty well supplied with our own used copies that we already had. So we have multiple copies of Revolver, both the US and the UK version. The UK version, I think, is a Philippines pressing, but it's the UK track order, Parlophone. And then multiple copies of Sgt. Pepper and Magical Mystery Tour and White Album and Abbey Road. Also got the past masters recently, as I covered on a recent video. And then we did get years ago, we got the remix of Sgt. Pepper on vinyl, the Giles Martin. And then I got that Let It Be box set at a very good price that I think I bought with Amazon points. And I couldn't resist that. So have that remixed reissue too, and multiple copies of the original Let It Be. So we've got the run of the Beatles now. It's really nice to have these UK versions on vinyl, and sounded great, sounded really good. Maybe not the best sounding one. Now that I've listened to them all, I think just my favorites, just in terms of sound quality, not music quality, but I probably would say Please Please Me, Beatles for Sale, Help sounded really good. Those sounded terrific. And the others, very good. Rubber Soul sounded really good. And Hard Day's Night grew on me. Past Masters, I think I covered this before, maybe for some reason a little less impressive, but still good. And this is still good. It's just they left some of the great hits from these recording sessions. They're not on this album, so you've got to get them through the Past Masters volumes. But all told, this is a band in its early prime. They're just full of energy, full of passion. It's really irresistible. And then I kept digging. I found a couple used albums just to fill in some holes. One was the Eagles' Desperado, and this is I think this was only $3, but a very good copy. And this is the only Eagles studio album I didn't have on vinyl. It's one of those where you like L.A. Woman, I thought I had it, but I didn't have it. I have all the other ones, and I have this on CD, but not on vinyl until now. And I gave this a listen one afternoon, and it really, really sounded phenomenal. Like for a $3 album, this was VG++ all the way. Just great recording with a thematic type album. Perhaps one of their best albums. I'm curious what you guys think. Let me know in the comments what your favorite Beatles album is. Of course, the big hit there is Desperado on there. It really sounded great. So I was happy to get that at that price. And then this was just like a duplicate, but I bought it intentionally. Exotic Birds and Fruit by Procol Harum on the Chrysalis label. One of my favorite bands and one of my favorite albums by that band. I just thought, I was regularly combing through the stacks back here, like culling things and sort of curating. I've been sleeving a lot of stuff, and I realized, well, I only have one vinyl copy of this album. I thought I had more than one, and it's probably the first one that I bought. I can't remember when I bought it, probably in the 80s, but this was super clean. The cover has very little ring wear. The condition of the vinyl is really good. And I thought sometimes with favorite albums, it doesn't hurt to have more than one copy, especially at the price. This was just very, very cheap. I think it was $3. So yeah, nice pickup. Gave it a listen. Sounds terrific. The recording quality on this album is pretty muddy. It's sort of a murky mix, and there's reasons for that. And I do recommend the Esoteric reissue of this. They did a nice job with that. I need to give that a review one of these days. So it sounds great on CD, but this is another album that, for the cover art, for the presentation on vinyl, I think you want to have it. It didn't, and I listened to it on the same night, I think, that I listened to the Doors and the Beatles albums. And that Doors album was just so impressive sonically that like the other stuff paled a little bit. And I'm not making a comment about the music. I mean, I prefer the music on here for sure. But yeah, that Doors album kind of like threw shade on some of the other stuff just in terms of the sonics. But it still sounded terrific. And I'm glad to get an extra copy of this. So yeah, nice pickup. Not totally necessary, but it didn't break the bank to get it. And then I've been listening to like a lot of other stuff on Tidal and on classical stuff, but I don't have a list for you right now. But these are just the highlights. Just yesterday while I was making dinner, I streamed this, so I didn't listen to this on my vinyl copy, but Chicago Greatest Hits, their first Greatest Hits album. And this was part of my original Columbia House Record Club shipment, my introductory 13 albums for a penny. And, you know, I'm a huge Chicago fan, especially like their first phase, their Terry Kath era Chicago. But, you know, I've stuck with them throughout the years, even when their sort of move to pop music was like less to my liking. There's still some gems in their catalog. But anyway, this is one of my favorite greatest hits compilations really by anybody. If you're just looking for a one album introduction to Chicago, I know there's tons of compilations out there. There's more comprehensive compilations out there, but you can't really go wrong with this one. It's just got all their major hits. It has the single edits of songs like Make Me Smile, and yeah, that's just me. I'm a Chicago fan, so that was an enjoyable meal that I prepared. I was just kind of like dancing along with the music as it went along. Sounded good on Tidal. What I did listen to on Tidal was the so-called Atmos mix. And I was just listening to this in stereo through the hearing aids, streaming. but it sounded really good. I don't know. I hope someone in the comments can explain to me Atmos. I know it's supposed to be for like a surround sound type thing, and I have no interest in that at all. But I've read a few things that said that the Atmos mixes are you can hear some differences in stereo as well. I haven't studied up on this at all, and I'm not sure I'm hearing like significant differences between like the two versions. They have the non-Atmos and the Atmos on Tidal, but I just will say this, that the Atmos mix is what I picked to listen to, and it sounded terrific. It was really good. But no, you're seeing all these albums get reissued with Atmos mixes, and I don't know if it's snake oil. I don't know if it's necessary. But I'd like to know more about it. When I see those pop up on Tidal, sometimes I give them a listen. Like I listened to Turnstiles by Billy Joel a few weeks back, the Atmos mix on the earbuds, and it sounded pretty good too. What I think I hear is like lots more separation, or maybe not lots more, that might be not the best way to put it, but a little more definition and separation and in the stereo space, but it's subtle, and I don't know if it's always better. Sometimes when I've done some A/B between Atmos, non-Atmos, it sounds like the non-Atmos is maybe a little bit more forward and kind of a more thick, solid presentation, whereas the Atmos is a bit more spread out. But I'm really not an expert on this. I could just be, I'm just winging it here. I'm just it's more like impressions and guesswork. But I'd love to know how close I am to the mark. So let me know in the comments. That's just a quick rundown of what I've been listening to. What have you been listening to? And if you have any feedback you want to give me on these albums, the Fiona Apple, Chicago, Doors, L.A. Woman, With the Beatles, Desperado by the Eagles, Exotic Birds and Fruit by Procol Harum, and let's not leave out Endless Summer by the Beach Boys. Share your thoughts in the comments. Always enjoy reading them. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.